weekly live stream where friends of the Bitcoin Walk community come together to discuss the ideas, the principles, and the conversations that actually matter. So every Thursday we go live, and every Saturday we go for a walk. Because there's the thing, where the real work doesn't happen on screen; it happens face to face, side by side, one conversation at a time. That's what Bitcoin Walk is all about. We step away from the noise, we get outside, and we talk about the things that actually matter: how we fix the money and how we fix the world. So there's your standing invitation. So every Saturday, wherever you are, put down your phone, go touch some grass, and have a real conversation with someone about why sound money matters and what it means for the future of our communities. Head to the bitcoinwalk.org website to find the nearest walk by where you live, or even better, start one in your town if there's none existing yet. You don't need any permission. You just need 2 feet and willingness to talk. I'm Endo. Let's go. Our guest today is Derek Ross, a man who wears many hats. He's a developer, builder, keynote speaker, community organizer, and someone who has been at the forefront of the centralized web for years. He's known as the as the Nostr evangelist and the Nostr CEO, and no one quite champions Nostr as much as Derek does. So I'm very glad we have this conversation today. Derek, welcome.
Thank you for that long and amazing intro, Endo. It's great to be here. I love your Sovereign Engineering shirt that you're wearing. I think that's what that is. Yeah, it's pretty sweet.
It is.
Yeah, very cool.
It is the Sovereign Engineering T-shirt, which I was never in the cohort of Sovereign Engineering, but a friend of mine with whom I co-founded a creative agency called Team Toxic is the guy who designed the logo. So I said, okay, well, I'm gladly and proudly wearing it and hanging around with the Sovereign Engineers guys as well. Obviously, in Madeira. I'm not in Madeira right now, but I'm in Poland, and it feels like this is actually a Sahara. It's in Egypt. It's 30, 34, 36 degrees. So really, really hot here. We did a Bitcoin walk, a guest Bitcoin walk in Krakow last week. That was great because people over there were really hungry for that event to happen. I don't know what it is. They don't. I think there's some kind of leadership aspect missing because people wouldn't organize themselves. So actually, a friend of mine from Poznan, from another city, said, "Hey, I'm going to this to Krakow, and I'm actually gonna host a Bitcoin walk over there." And I said, "Well, I'm in Poland. I'm gonna drive 200 kilometers, and I'll go for a walk with you." and we did that, and that was fantastic. And the others enjoyed it as well. And I just wish that this kind of sits in there, and people just say, okay, same time, same place, next Saturday, we meet again, and we're gonna go for a walk and see what happens.
I love going for a walk. I do that often where I live. I live in central Pennsylvania, very rural, a lot of mountains, woods, forest trees, all that. So I like to walk in nature and get some fresh air. It allows me to kind of center myself and clear my thoughts, kind of focus. And I also do a lot of vibe coding too when I walk too. I'll be walking and I'll get an idea, and then I'll pull out my phone and I'll talk to my robot and tell it all sorts of stuff, and walk for a few more minutes. Nature's great, get another idea and be like, oh man, tell my robot the next idea. I do that a lot too. But I try to go for a walk several times a week, for at least an hour or so at a time, and just be out in nature and, like I said, get some fresh air and focus. It's good to do that. If I'm having a bad day or if I'm feeling overwhelmed, being outside and getting some sun and some fresh air really, really helps. It's amazing what it does for the human body. So I highly recommend it. What you're doing is great. Everybody should go for a walk and have a talk, whether that's with a human or a robot.
Yeah. There's something like a primal around that, somebody once told me that, I really like that birds fly, fish swim, and people walk. Yeah. if you look into it, into our species history, like we've been walking, and being on the move was kind of always part of our journey.
Yeah.
Um, so it feels that a disconnecting for a while from a screen is something that we should probably all start practicing more. I think we're kind of blessed because we already know that there are algorithms controlled by the big tech
Yeah.
corporations that are literally brainwashing people into just
Yeah.
doom scrolling and doing all that. So if you're into Nostr and Bitcoin, maybe you got to the point where, well, you're watching us now on some other medium, but basically it's not that kind of infinite loop of consuming stuff that basically the corporations benefit from, and that's where
Yeah.
Nostr comes in with the proliferation of the algo, right?
Absolutely.
Tell us a
Like,
little more
yeah.
about like
Yeah.
what rules rule the Nostr algorithms.
So you kind of hit the nail on the head there with algorithms and talking about doom scrolling. Humans, we weren't meant to doom scroll. Like we weren't meant to consume this negative content, this stream of negative content that keeps us enraged and engaged with. We should be bloom scrolling. We should be seeing happy content. We should be seeing, flowers bloom, nature, beautiful photos, right? And not fight videos that that make us feel bad, things like that. I mean, obviously there is negativity in the world, but we don't need to see it 24/7. It makes us it makes us it makes us feel bad, and it has a negative effect on our minds and our body. And it's to the point where doom scrolling is an actual term, like in the Webster dictionary. And there is like it's called like Facebook psychosis or some weird term where it's essentially social media makes you feel bad. And that is weird that we have this. So Nostr doesn't have a central entity that needs to keep you enraged and engaged. There is no algorithm that you have to serve. None of this exists at the protocol level. And I would say probably 100% of the people building on Nostr, like all of the developers, understand this. They understand what is wrong with traditional and legacy social media, that humans want to be social, but that doesn't mean we have to feel bad when we're being social. So let's build tools, let's build platforms that don't enforce negativity. And that's pretty much the core ethos of Nostr, because there's no algorithm that is feeding you this negative content. There's no advertising agency that needs to bring you back so you can keep clicking on more ads and keep seeing more negative content, that this dopamine hit that makes you want to come back and be like, no, I disagree with that. I got to fight with this person. There's none of that. Now, because Nostr is an open ecosystem, somebody could build that. If they wanted to build doom scrolling app with ads, they literally could do that 100%. But because it's an open protocol, an open network, if I don't want to use doom scrolling app and ad app, I don't have to. I can use somebody else's app. I could use Ditto. I could use Amethyst. I could use Primal. There's so many apps out there you can use. And these are, like I said, these are all made by developers that understand the bad stuff with current legacy social media. So trying to change the world, trying to make the world a better place through social interactions that don't make you feel bad and don't bring you back to negative content. Now, that is probably one of the major positives with Nostr, but it's also kind of one of the negatives too, because since there isn't this dopamine hit, this algorithm to keep you engaged and to keep you coming back to the platforms, well, people aren't drawn to constantly come back to Nostr apps, and adoption has been slower than I would like. But that doesn't mean the ecosystem isn't growing. Like there's new apps that are being built all the time. The apps and services layer, that part of the ecosystem is thriving, especially now thanks to AI and vibe coding. Anybody with an idea can build, and there's a massive plethora of applications and use cases every single day that are building. So the ecosystem is flourishing on that side of things, and new things are being unlocked all the time.
Yeah, I'm gonna come back to that because that's something that I really need to pick your brains on. But
Sure.
like I wanted to kind of also step back and um, to where the majority is of people. So the Instagrams and
Yeah.
all the mainstream platforms, because it seems like there is a significant number of creators who kind of live off the content they
Yeah.
create, and they're
Yeah.
dependent on YouTube, and they have to follow the precise guidelines not to mention certain things, or
Yeah.
basically say like comply with the narrative.
Yeah,
and
that's
and
really
so
weird too that you have to do that, right? Like you're a content creator and you're essentially your own boss, but maybe that's not actually the case. Maybe you're not your own boss because you have to answer to these algorithms and these platforms rules. You're essentially building your entire business on somebody else's foundation. So you may say that you are your own boss and you're in control of your own business, but that's actually a lie. You're not in control of your own business. You have to answer to one, an algorithm. You have to play the algorithm game to get your content seen. And then two, someone can literally take away your whole entire business if they want to. They can ban you. They can make you have to say certain type of things or not say certain things. So
yeah,
you're totally not in control like you think you are. You have to bow to your platform overlords, which there's a lot of people that do that for their livelihood, and it just amazes me that more people don't look for alternatives to where they're more in control or as in control as they say they are. And I think that a lot of people recognize that, but it's their livelihood, right? Like their entire user base is on Instagram or is on, Facebook, YouTube, TikTok, whatever. So it's really hard to leave your millions of followers and go to an ecosystem that has maybe 20, 30, 40,000 followers, not million,
yeah,
thousands. So
yeah.
I get it. It's hard to move. I understand that. So we keep building Endo, and maybe someday the ecosystem will be larger and attract these large content creators that
Well, that
realize that
very much.
they need to change.
Mhm. That very much reminds me of the situation that we have with our normal lives in the fiat world, where we kind of are hooked up to hooked to the system, to the matrix, and we keep on working for the system. We keep on paying our taxes, having a
Yeah.
mortgage, and being in the constant loop, paycheck to paycheck, to basically meet plan into the future. But I think even people, like most of people in the fiat world, are disillusioned about the value of their fiat money into the future, right? I
Yeah.
think everybody's got the idea that this is like holding and a melting ice cube. It's just that people don't really understand that there is an alternative, that there's
Yeah.
something they can do about it.
Yeah, and it's the saying, you don't know what you don't know, right? Like if you don't know that there is an alternative that can work better in the future, can work better now, then you don't know. And you think, well, this is the world we live in, and that's just how it is. So then there are people, like you said, that wake up from the matrix and they're like, well, maybe there maybe there is something that's better out there. And then they look for it and they come across Bitcoin and they come across Nostr. Uh, it's it's just a waiting game. It's just time. I truly believe that big tech corporations and big tech social companies and governments will continue to advertise the need for Nostr and will continue to advertise the need for Bitcoin. Given a long enough timeline, they're going to advertise more than we ever could the need for our tools. And like we literally see it every day, especially um, in Europe. The EU and the UK that are doing some weird stuff that is very dystopian and reminds you about what you would read in a book about 1984. With digital ID and all sorts of
It was not
weird
supposed to be a
things.
manual.
Yeah, exactly. It wasn't supposed to be a manual. No, someone wasn't supposed to read this and be like, "Oh, yeah, we should do this. Like, this is a good idea." No, no, it was supposed to be the opposite. like we joke and we say that about the movie Idiocracy. That wasn't supposed to be a documentary. Like we weren't supposed to try to like follow along here. Like, come on now. But we're doing it. We're doing it, unfortunately.
That's insane.
So we're going to keep having these tools available for when these unfortunate documentaries and manuals start coming true. Like we're gonna have the tools to opt out.
So basically, I understand that the history will basically make a rhyme with, okay, people will understand Nostr where they are banned from social media, where they're no longer free to express themselves, and basically this will be like, okay, there is a tool that I can use, and I can still communicate with my audience or with my like similar to what happened with banking, like in Cyprus or Greece, where people were deplatformed, and then like I need to get some money that is not in the bank.
Yeah,
I think there's a bit of a
that's definitely a path forward. But over the years, I've kind of realized that most people don't really care about censorship resistant free speech, decentralization, however you want to wrap Bitcoin and Nostr. They say they do, and it's important to them, but when it gets down to it, they're really addicted to their current platforms. They're really addicted to Twitter. They're really addicted to Instagram. They know it's bad. There's some aspects they like about it, but they're really addicted. And telling people to quit their addiction and move to something else is hard. It's a lot harder than I honestly realized. Like 3.5, 4 years ago, I thought, oh, this was going to be easy. Why doesn't everyone think like I do and realize these things are bad? Everyone's going to move over to Nostr. Well, here we are, 3.5 years later, and that's not true yet. I recently rejoined Twitter. I deleted my Twitter account 3.5 years ago, thinking, oh yeah, everyone's going to do this. Well, I was wrong. I came back to Twitter because I feel that there's more conversations to be had, and I can't talk about the benefits of decentralized social communication if I'm not in the place where people use the opposite of that. So
at one point, it doesn't make just continue preaching to the choir, right? You need to be,
yeah. And I think, well, I kind of realized that with like Bitcoin Twitter years ago too, that we sit there on like in Bitcoin Twitter every day and be like, yay, Bitcoin's good, Bitcoin's cool. Well, yeah, our echo chamber already knows that. We we need to get outside of our echo chamber, but the algorithm kind of doesn't allow you to do that. Like the feeds are honed in for your echo chamber. So people that are coming in and talking about related topics most likely don't see us saying yay Bitcoin or yay Nostr. They see their own echo chamber. So it's really hard to break out. But completely shutting yourself off from that by, like I said, like deleting Twitter, deleting Instagram, and these type of things probably wasn't the correct decision years ago. So I'm back on Legacy Socials, and I'm trying to hand out the purple pill and the orange pill to everybody.
We know which side we're fighting on. So yeah, it's I think it's fair.
It'll be a long battle.
It would be a long battle, exactly. Yeah, but it started. It's decentralized. It's possible to stop. So here we go. TikTok next block. We carry on, and I guess time will only show that more people will be coming to our side. So this is a very low time preference exercise.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a one of the developers on Nostr. His name is Hodlbod, and I think a year ago he wrote a very long blog post talking about building Nostr, and he likes to say anytime there's somebody talking about issues with Nostr, he said that Nostr is a 10-year project. Bitcoin wasn't what it was in the first few years. Yeah. It took a long time to get to where we're at right now. So it's going to take Nostr, several more years to get to where it needs to be. And that's what we need to remind ourselves is that, we're still building. We're still in the building and figuring out what we are kind of phase. It's just going to take some more time. Lower your time preference, and keep building.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's stick to the 10-year time frame. I
Okay.
wanted to kind of get your perspective on what software development was 5 years ago, where it is
Oh
today,
man.
and where that's going to be 5 years from now.
Okay. So when you gave my introduction, you said that I was a software developer. Now, I personally would never consider myself a software developer, at least maybe not until recent times. Um, I've been in tech for 2 decades, and in those 2 decades, I've been a systems administrator. So people that aren't developers might look at me as a developer, but people that are developers probably wouldn't see me as a developer because I used to never build like full stack applications. I would do just enough development to do my job. Like I would do, some database work, some shell script work, some really geeky stuff, but it was tool to do tasks for my job. It was very, very, very basic development, but I never wrote a full blown end to end application, like the whole back end, the whole front end. That wasn't something that I did. Um, then AI came, and now that's no longer the case. Thanks to AI and my understanding of tech, because I've worked in
Mhm.
tech for a while, I am able to build full blown front end, back end applications and have people use my apps, and the apps improve over time. And I'm able to do this. And this is absolutely wild that anybody, you don't even have to be in tech. You just have to have an idea. You just have to have the ability to communicate. You just have to have some creativity and a little bit of critical thinking, and then you can build anything. Really, you have the tools now. You have literally a senior developer at your fingertips. So the landscape for development has completely changed. Almost anyone can be a software developer. Maybe you aren't the world's best software developer, but as with anything, the more you use that tool, the more you learn how to be creative, learn how to
Practice.
communicate, learn, you practice, you get better at it. I look at apps that I was, vibe coding a year and a half ago, and compared to what I knew when I first got started and how I would build things a year and a half ago has completely changed. I'm such a better, much, much, much better developer a year and a half later. So where is software development going? Man, that's a really tough question. I have two teenagers, and one of my teenagers is going to be a senior in high school this year, and he wanted to, be in tech like his dad, for years. That was his thing. He wanted to do development, maybe some IT work, similar stuff to what
Mhm.
I did. Um, and about a year ago, I started realizing, oh man, the job that I currently have probably won't exist in the same capacity. And then development itself is really, really going to be very different, where you'll have a senior level project manager type developer that understands the large picture, that manages a team of agents. And we're very, very fastly moving on to that. Every every 3 to 6 months, we reach this level where more and more entry level developing jobs probably aren't going to go to humans anymore. And I really don't know, is eventually the human developers are going to die off. I mean, we die. So we're going to have entry level developers coming into the space at some point to replace us. We're in a weird spot right now where I I just I just don't see college graduates, entry level developers getting a lot of jobs in the development industry when senior devs can have a dozen junior dev agents working for
Yeah.
them. So we're in a really weird spot. The landscape has completely changed. Like I truly think in the future, your project manager type people, your people that are your project managers, your product managers, like the people at the top, executive level,
Mhm.
they're going to have their team of agents. Now,
Mhm.
it, you're you're going to probably need two different sets of agents. You'll have your agents that are just building, but then you're going to need your agents that work with humans too, because agents can't touch the human layer of things, like being able to communicate and understand what humans needs and wants are. So you're going to still need some human level interaction, but then those humans are going to come back and feed that stuff into their agents. The developer agents are going to look at it and build it. Like it's a weird place to be in. I Where we're going to
Yeah.
be at in 5 years, 10 years, I can't fathom. It's accelerating so fast. Where we're going to be at in 3 years is probably even hard to fathom right now. I don't know. There
Yeah.
it's it's exciting and scary. Like um I'm a huge fan of AI, obviously. I literally use AI all day, every day, a wide range of agents and tools. And there are some people that don't like AI and they say, "Derek, why are you accelerating this? Why are you working towards a future, when AI, is, Terminator and all this other stuff?" And I'm like, well, the cat, is out of the box here. It's not going to go back in.
Yeah.
We can't really stop it. So humans, the cool thing about humans is we can adapt. Like that's like one of our coolest things is we've adapted to live in every climate of our planet. Like that's what we do.
Mhm.
And I think that we're just going to continue to adapt to this new world with AI and figure out new use cases and new jobs and new tasks. And I think we'll be okay. It's going to be There'll be a lot of changes, and I don't even know what half of them are, but we'll navigate it because that's what we do, and we'll be okay.
Yeah. Yeah. I recall the 15 years I spent freelancing in London as a project manager, then agile coach and scrum master. So I've been around tech and working with both the business and the tech people. So I had a good exposure to what was going on. We were building websites, building apps, building
Yeah.
some CRMs and all sorts of stuff. And I noticed a pattern that a lot of like the most talented developers, people who are like the brightest, were actually like self-taught. They
Mhm.
wouldn't have
Oh,
a
100%.
degree or anything. There's sometimes guys after high school who just
Yeah.
spent their 10,000 hours doing stuff, and they were their honey badgers. They're the best.
Yeah.
And and it feels similar today that the education system is not quite built for preparing the next generation for the future that they're going to live in.
I have friends that are most of my friends that live locally are educators in one aspect and or another, and talking to them about AI and finding out that kids that are going to be graduating, like they're not using AI, at least they're just not, and it blows my mind because they need to be moving faster because this technology is moving so fast, and if they want their students to be prepared for college, university, and life after high school, like it's extremely important to be using AI. Like I've even said to my friends, I was like, hey, like what if this summer I taught classes and put out an ad in a newspaper and said, "Hey, if you're a high school student and want to come have an amateur educator like come and teach you about
Mhm.
AI, open to the public." And we talked about that and just something for me to do. And I just feel that I said I have two teenagers in high school, and I know that they need to be prepared. And it's interesting though, like my son, he loves AI because he's like me. My daughter kind of hates AI. Like her and her friends, she's a few years younger, but her and her friends, they hate AI. AI is going to kill us all, and their AI is terrible. And so there's a younger generation that oh no, they're going to be in for a rude awakening in a couple of years, I think.
Yeah, yeah. I think that it's general approach to technology. I guess I'm in Poland now, and I can see people like I talk to people, and I try to plant seeds around Bitcoin and ask questions to make people think. And it feels like people are just like they're asleep. They're not ready. They're not interested. They are like this. They think that this is something that will not affect them at all. They have their own
Yeah.
bubble. They live in their own life. And what I'm thinking, I'm the outlier, and I'm the weirdo who keeps on talking about that. But it I can see that happening with AI as well. Like there are people who think like, well, I'm how is AI going to affect me? It's not going to affect me. Well, it is, because if you're into any business, um, simple example, like yesterday my dad was ordering some part for his car, and he gets a call from the online shop, and I can hear him listen to the message, and the message goes like, hello, Mr. Dia Dia Dia, you've placed this order. Unfortunately, we don't have this on our stock. Would you like to wait for that, or would you like a refund? And my dad
Yeah.
starts, kind of discussing with this person, and I said, Dad, you're talking to a machine. I can tell right now. This is a very well trained, voice
Yeah.
model that basically, yeah, there's no person there, and it's in Polish. It communicates super fluently, so they're using some 11 Labs or something like that, and they can do all that stuff, and that's like if you're having a shop selling uh, car parts, uh, there is competition who's embracing that, and if you're not doing
Yeah.
that, well, sorry, nobody's taking prisoners here.
Yeah. So I've taught local workshops on AI and talking about our Shakespeare product. The company I
Mhm.
work for, Soapbox, we have an app called Shakespeare that allows anybody to go out and build anything really. You just type in natural language, hey, I want to build an app that does so and so, and it'll build it for you. So I've been doing business oriented workshops here locally and talking to business owners and entrepreneurs about AI to kind of prepare them for this future that's coming extremely fast. And what you said is one of my talking points is that if you want to stay above your competitors and have a competitive edge, you need to look at ways of starting to use AI because your competitors are going to start doing it if you don't. And maybe it's something as simple as, like you said, it's being able to do phone conversations and transcriptions and place orders, learn about what your customers want. I told everybody that you need to start playing around with AI just to see what it can do, because
Mhm.
most people use AI as almost like a second Google. They use it as like a search engine, right?
Yeah.
They'll talk to Chat GPT or they'll talk to Gemini and they'll just do search queries. They won't really use it for productivity. And I said, just start, don't give AI a bunch of personal information, a bunch of personal business, information, but talk about scenarios, right? Like, could you create this type of document for me? Could you create this type of workflow, this type of process? Use it to talk about ideas and so forth. More productivity, right? Because you don't need to use AI just to build applications. Like you can use
Mhm.
it. You can use AI as a full marketing agent. You can use it as a full executive assistant to do all your scheduling and run your life. Your chief of staff. Like you can do these type of things with AI. I literally do it every day. And I start giving people these ideas, and they're like, oh, well, I didn't realize I could do that with AI. And I was like, you can literally do anything. Like, if you want to be lazy and you hate, I mean, I don't think anybody likes paying taxes, like, make your taxes easier. You can literally collect all your receipts, invoices, all of your tax documents, put AI at it, and say, hey, do the thing. And it'll do your taxes for you. Like it'll make taxes less painful then
Yeah.
more painful than they, less painful than they already are. There and there's all sorts of normie things you can do. Like it doesn't have to be a different alternative to Google. You can really do productivity with it. And I think that that's a good starting point, right? Like if you're not a developer, use it as a productivity, use it as an executive assistant in your life to help you stay organized. Just brain dump. I have a buddy that's a truck driver, and he's on the road like 10 hours a day, and he's always thinking of things. He's a really smart guy, but when he's on the road, he gets all these crazy ideas, and he'll give me a call and be like, "Hey Derek, what do you think about this?" And I was like, "Oh, that's a cool idea." So like 6 months ago, I was talking to him, and I was like, "You know what? The next time you have a cool idea, I want you to do voice to text, and I want you to talk to an agent. And then you can be driving down the road, and you can go back and forth and bounce ideas off of it all day long. And then you can get home back to your truck stop, wherever you're spending the night, and you can have it. You can say, "Hey, summarize all of this," and it'll literally summarize everything and organize all of your thoughts. And now you'll have this playbook to do more research, to build something, whatever you want to do. And I think it changed his life. He is absolutely in love that he can just brain dump and have it organize all of his thoughts for him. So do that. Try that.
Totally. May I ask us, there is some conversations around privacy and AI, like, should we be like, if you're using the most commercial like Claude or OpenAI, obviously, people keep on feeding all the information, all the personal information, so that probably not the wise thing. But can you tell us a little more about like where is that going? What are the potential risks of that, and the alternatives to mitigate those risks?
Yeah. So the Freedom Tech stack is Bitcoin. That's 1. Nostr 2. And 3 is personal AI. It's not using big tech AI, right? Like, so we're not using like big bank money. We're not using big tech to communicate. Well, the next piece of the puzzle is not using big AI to be able to have, your personal assistant. We don't want to continue to feed all this data into Anthropic's Claude and Google's Gemini and OpenAI's, ChatGPT. We have seen what massive tech companies and social companies have done to our internet, have done to our social communication, our lives. I don't want to see that happen with AI. I don't want to continue doing the same thing that we have been doing. And thankfully with AI, we're now at a point where we don't have to do that. There are solutions. There are private focused solutions. So, you may have seen in the news some talk about Chinese AI models and US models and so forth. And it's really weird. If you were to ask me a few years ago, and said, "Hey Derek, do you think that you're going to be reliant on Chinese technology in a couple of years?" I'd be like, "No, I'm not going to do that. Why would I do that?" Well, times they are changing, Endo. The Chinese AI models, they're open source and they're open weight. And that means that I can download, if I have the hardware, I can download them and I can run them locally here at my house and have access to frontier, like top level AI, and be running it here. And the companies that are leading the forefront there are the Chinese models. Like it's not OpenAI, it's not Anthropic. They may have the best closed source models, but now the open ones are just as good and in some regards better. So we need that's where we need to go. There's multiple companies that are moving in this type of direction. I have friends at Maple AI, and Maple AI, they use all the open source models, but they do it in an encrypted and private manner because running the hardware is expensive. Like you need anywhere between like $5,000 and $20,000 or more to be able to run this frontier level, top level at home. Not everybody has, $5,000 sitting around, $20,000 sitting around. So we still need solutions. And that's why people fall back into using the providers. Well, we know that's bad. We don't want to continue to give them this So if you don't have the funds, what do you do? Well, you can use something like Maple AI, where they encrypt everything from the chat prompt to where the chat box is. That is fully end-to-end encrypted from there directly to the GPU, directly to the hardware in the data center. So they don't get to read anything that you're doing. They literally can't. It's end-to-end encrypted AI assistant. And said the company is called Maple. I think their website's getmaple.ai. I could be given
Try Maple.
Try Maple. Oh yeah, Try Maple. Okay, and I would say try Maple. It's really cool that we can have good AI that is encrypted and private. So that's one company in the space. There's another company. I can't remember the name. It's let's say Eric and Jesse. Let's say Eric Carson and Jesse Posner are. I forget the name of their company, but they are building, essentially, think of it as like an Alexa or Google device that sits in your home, but it's encrypted and local and so forth and private. So they're another company in the space that is recognizing what's wrong with the path that we're going down, and they're trying to help us opt out too. These models that you can run locally and run in a private manner are the way forward. They're getting better all the time. And I think we're going to eventually get to a point where it's much easier. Like right now, like I said, if you want to run the best AI models, you need between $5,000 and $20,000 of hardware to be able to do it at home. And that's just, I don't have that kind of funds laying around, and I don't think most people do, to be able to throw at this, but it's going to get better, right? Like as these models advance, they're going to get faster. They're going to get smaller in terms of the resources that they need to use. And we're going to see also breakthroughs in hardware too, because people are going to want to run these models at home. The end goal is to be able to run, have a device in every home, or maybe years from now, everybody's phone can have fully private AI. I think that's the way that we're going, because we realize that we kind of fucked up giving big tech companies all of our data in round one. And round two, I don't think we want to do that again. And there's a lot of people that recognize that. It's a large battle though, Endo. Like these companies are growing. It's not going to be easy, but thankfully we have China to rely on in this.
That's insane,
weird...
because it makes me think, because like, we are, there are. I've got a friend who's working for a big legal company, and they say that they're embracing AI, and they're using something called Lexora, and basically they say, well, it's all supposed to be like trusted, and but again, there's no way for those suits, the guys in in the legal office, to verify that, to really know what is going on. And let's not go too far, like Coldcard shitstorm in the saga. Like it was supposed to be all contained and all best practice, self custody, yada yada yada. And then boom, we are where we are. So my worry is that actually entrusting those AI companies, like a lot of them, if you're not using your own model, you have to rely on third party. And there's no, like, is there a way to verify that they're really not selling that to your competition, or would not be able to?
Well, no. Like if you're using Anthropic's Claude, which I use every day, like Claude is one of the best. If you're using them or Google's Gemini or OpenAI's ChatGPT, Codex, there is no guarantee that they're not. I mean, they 100% can read all of your prompts, all the input and all of the output. And why wouldn't they? Why wouldn't they use that to improve their product and possibly sell user data to competitors and so forth? I mean, we know that this is in their playbook. I think it's absolutely, there's a non-zero chance that it's happening. Non-zero chance. So that's why we need to have better options available. And like, sure, you can use the Chinese models and use their hosted on their website version. And yeah, they're probably doing the same with that, because why wouldn't they? But the difference with the Chinese models is it's open, so you can download it. Other companies can download it. Other companies can implement it, and they can do private versions of it, encrypted versions of it, or you can run it locally. If you have the hardware, you can run it locally, and you can have a fully local, fully private, non-spy version that you're running. You mentioned the Coldcard fiasco. So just a little related tidbit of information here. So whenever now we're like, what, 6 days ago, a week ago, whenever this started happening, researchers were trying to figure out what was going on, and they were using AI.
Right.
So they asked Anthropic's Claude, hey, do a security audit on this piece of software. And Claude comes back, hey, no, you can't do that. You might do bad stuff here. They limited it, right? Like, Claude will literally slap you on the wrist and say, hey, you can't do a cybersecurity audit of this software because you might be looking to do bad stuff on it. We're going to protect you by not allowing you to do this. So then they went to Codex from OpenAI, and they said the same thing. Hey, do a security audit on this software. And Codex gave them a little bit more information, but they were hitting roadblocks with Codex. So when this was happening, researchers literally couldn't do their security audits of software to figure out what was going on. And then they turned to Moonshot AI's model, Kimi K3, the latest version. And that is as good as top US models. Like, it's maybe even better in some aspects. It's as good as Claude Fable 5, maybe better. It's as good as Codex 5.6 Sol. Like, it's literally top model in the world. And they say, hey, tell me what's going on. Cybersecurity report. Kimi comes back, boom, okay, yes, let me research this for you, and didn't slap them on the wrists. Like, insane. Kimi has been a lifesaver over the past week in the Bitcoin security space, where researchers are using Kimi K3 to figure out all the vulnerabilities in various Bitcoin applications, because US models literally failed them and said, we aren't going to allow you to do this. You could be doing bad stuff, slap you on the wrist. We're not going to let you do that prompt. And
insane.
I've seen that prompt before. It's insane. Like, on my applications, trying to use the top US models, trying to make them more secure, like literally just trying to make my own apps more secure. And it comes back and says, hey, you can't do that. That's a restricted prompt. That's a blocked prompt. Like, what the hell? I'm trying to do good here. So yeah, you rely on more open models. I turn to Moonshot, and I'm able to secure my apps just like the Bitcoin researchers did. So it's a very, very interesting time that we're dealing with, like, AI that's restricted, and only certain people can have access to the more powerful AI. Well, thankfully we have Chinese models that allow us to do this. Now, you can't ask the Chinese models about, like, the CCP or Tiananmen Square, but everything else is off limits. Like, you can ask it anything else. So they are restricted too, right? Like, they're restricted in their own way.
They're gonna protect their good name. Maybe that's fine.
They're restricted in their own way.
Derek, that AI is definitely gonna be, like, we keep an eye on that. And like, I saw some comms from Kale today about Team Red, a bunch of researchers, security researchers, throwing in money at AI and finding I think hundreds or thousands vulnerabilities in Bitcoin related software that hopefully will be hardened and addressed thanks to the OpenSats grant. So that's amazing. But I wanted to kind of come back with Nostr, because you're a very distinguished person in this matter. Like, top 3 Nostr apps that you would you like best right now. Like, obviously, Ditto is going to be a go-to place, but I give you the floor.
Yeah. So the app, I use Ditto a lot. Obviously, Ditto's our it's our everything app. It has all the different aspects of the Nostr ecosystem. But what I'm most excited about right now is Armada. I use Armada all day, every day, all day long. Armada is our Discord alternative, Telegram group alternative, Signal alternative, whatever you want to call it.
Yeah.
we actually at Soapbox about, oh geez, it's maybe been 2 months now. Time flies. It's been a while. We used to use Signal for everything, for all of our internal communications and video calls and messaging and everything. We stopped using Signal internally, and now we use Armada for fully everything. And we have several public communities as well as our private community, and people are using this. And we, like I said, we use it for everything. We use it for help with development because it can hook into Nostr Git. So we see our applications, like we see our merge requests, we see our issues getting reported, we see our commits and deployments. So we have the full integration with that if you're a developer. But then we have all the different chat channels, just like you would see on Discord. So you can you can segregate your conversations and talk about different things. And we have full audio and video, so you can do screen sharing, you can do audio calls, video calls, full group calls. Like we've had a dozen or more people in video calls. It all works great. And the best part about Armada is that you can do all of this, everything you can do on Discord, and it's encrypted. Like Discord is not encrypted. So Discord, the company, can literally read all of your conversations. Well, Armada is fully end-to-end encrypted. Relay operators and us, nobody can read anything. Like you just see noise, you just see garbage, gobbledygook. Like you can't read it. It's fully encrypted and private, and it actually works. And Armada solves a lot of the problems that Nostr DMs have had, Nostr chats have had over the years. We've had so many different specs. If you're more technical, maybe you heard about NIP04 DMs. And like Damus and Primal still use those. Maybe if you're, like I said, technical, maybe you heard about NIP17 DMs. They were the newer, better DMs, and like apps like Amethyst. There's apps like Amethyst that'll use that. And then we had groups like NIP29 groups, and NIP29 groups are great. They're great and they work. I personally don't like them, and this is just Derek. I don't like them because it adds a centralization layer to technology that is decentralized. So we say, hey, everybody use Nostr. Nostr is decentralized. If you want to do a group chat, you have to use a centralized version of Nostr. And that just didn't sit right in my brain. It's probably fine for some use cases. Like if you personally run the server for your entity, for your organization, it's probably fine. And that's a perfectly fine use case. But for certain communities, maybe they don't want that. Maybe they want encrypted chats. Maybe they don't want somebody to own their conversations that could rug them and so forth. So we came up with, we worked with a protocol called the Concord protocol. They were on version 1 at the time, and we worked with them to implement a second version, add some more features and so forth. JS Kitty and his team. Right? Yeah, no, it's not actually MLS. It's different. Like I said, Nostr messaging is messed up. There's so many different specs. So MLS has been being worked on for, I don't know, I'll say the past year and a half, 2 years, something like that. About 2 years, I guess. Jeff Gardner and his team have been working on it, and their ecosystem is growing. There's multiple MLS apps, but at the end of the day, like my personal experience was, it just wasn't ready yet. Like there were some issues being able to, with groups and being able to communicate. And
sorry to jump in. Was MLS the same thing as Marmot?
Yes. Okay. The Marmot protocol was built on MLS. Like I said, it's early and it's super robust, and it'll probably be, very secure for small groups in the future for people to use. But we at Soapbox, we were having just some issues with consistency with it. So we were looking for alternatives. We kind of got tired of waiting, right? We wanted to have this group chat thing, and we couldn't find a solution that worked for us. And then I came across an app called Vector. Vector was built on Nostr, and then they had their own protocol. They actually used to be a MLS Marmot app, and they had issues too. So they migrated to their own protocol, and they called it Concord. So we looked at the Concord protocol, looked at the app, and immediately I said, oh, wow, Vector's the best Nostr messaging app that I've ever used. That's wild. Never like where'd these guys come from? Where'd JS Kitty and Urine B come from? Like I had never heard of these guys, and started talking to them. Found out they're really great people, and we aligned a lot. And then our team started talking to their team and said, "Well, hey, what could we do to do something really cool?" And JS Kitty and Alex Gleason started working on version 2 of the Concord spec, and we came up with a new version and vectors on the new version, interoperable. We have Armada. Amethyst is using Concord as well. Hazard.
Okay.
Hazard has an app.
Mhm.
Relay Outpost supports it as well. So there's like 5 or 6 apps that now support the Concord spec, and it's all interoperable. So,
but in Concord you've got a coordinator, right?
no, there is no coordinator. See, that's what makes us different. So there is another MLS spec that does work, but it has a coordinator. What is
Sorry.
it?
I mean, it's a Cordon. That's a very similar name.
Cordon, yes.
Yes.
Yeah. Cordon, yes, similar name. Cordon has a coordinator, and that's that like centralization piece that makes MLS work. So their argument is anybody can run their own coordinator if you want to, and you don't have to rely on a central coordinator. And that is perfectly fine, except that your conversations now have a centralized piece. I personally don't like it, but again, for some people that works fine. If you want to run your own coordinator, go ahead. Not everybody has the ability to run their own server. Like that's, we know that.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. So we solve that again by using public relays. You can use our relays. You can use anybody else's relays in the whole public ecosystem of 1,000 different relays on Nostr. You can use any relay you want to, or you can run your own if you have the ability to do that. But yeah, there is no coordinator. It's essentially what it is think of it as like NIP 17 DMs advanced level, because NIP 17 DMs on Nostr also use gift wrap messaging and encryption to keep them encrypted and to hide the metadata to make it more private. You don't know who's getting it with a gift wrap message, because the message is sent, and then inside it is the real inside it is content that's wrapped and hidden, and then inside that is the real content. So we kind of take that to another level where we do use gift wraps and we do use NIP44 encryption, but the group shares a private key essentially, and everybody has access to this private key through the application. So we use a shared key instead of a coordinator, and everybody shares this key. And every time there's a major change, like somebody gets banned, for example, the key rotates. So now the conversation is encrypted by the new key, and everybody in the group gets this new key. And so we've been using it for 6 weeks, 8 weeks, something like that now. And we have a Soapbox community with a couple hundred users. We have our own private group. We just this past week rolled out about a dozen public communities of various topics to try to bolster that and get people that are joining. We're talking to people that are looking for Discord alternatives. They were banned from Discord. They had a community on Discord, and Discord banned them, took away their community. So we're talking to those individuals and showing them that you can actually, if your community wasn't banned but you want to leave Discord, we actually have a tool that imports your whole Discord community.
Amazing.
So you can import your users, you can import your conversations. We want to import like your emojis and your badges, your gifts, all that stuff, all the stuff that you have. Like we have a full Discord importer that can do most of this stuff now, and we have a community that has used it. So that's our goal. That's my most exciting thing I'm bullish on Nostr right now. That may change in 3 months. I'll be excited about something else. That's kind of how our ecosystem goes. But right now I'm all in on Armada. And I would like, and you guys, the Bitcoin walkers, you're testing, you have a small community.
Yeah.
And you've seen it grow over the past 2 months, like a little buggy at first, we've been iterating all sorts of new features, bugs getting squashed. So yeah.
It's it's a journey, and there are some challenges with for example, for iOS users, they're asking like, okay, what's the reliable signer? and not everybody wants to, plug in
Yeah.
their NSYNC into the app. So it's a slow process, but I like the fact that it loads pretty neatly. It's got like notifications work pretty well.
Yeah, iOS
So
notifications are working better. We're going to be, we have a version on Google Play, iOS, web, desktop app. So we're tackling all the different surfaces, and we want to have a good experience. Like I said, try to be a full alternative to Discord, but be decentralized and encrypted.
yeah, as of now, is there any iOS signer you would recommend?
There is one. It's called Clave. It is by a friend of mine. His name's Doc. He got tired of there not being a good iOS signer, months
Yeah.
ago, and like Primal has a signer and it works, but Primal
Yeah.
signer, it has to do this weird thing where it has to play music, like elevator music, to stay in the notifications, and it works, but that's weird. And they're working to improve that at Primal themselves. And my friend Doc, he decided that he wanted to tackle that himself. So I would say check out Clave. I don't know if it's graduated from Test Flight yet, but it's called Clave, CLAVE, like
Yeah.
enclave type, a play on that word. So check it out, and
Yeah.
you can use it. I know people are using Clave with Armada, and it seems to work well. And on the Android side, I use Amber. We do have the button. If you have Amber installed on your Android device, you just tap sign in with Amber. You can also tap sign in with Primal if you have Primal Signer, and it'll sign in with that.
I think one of the features that I really like about Armada, and it's really working well for the Bitcoin Walk, is the fact that it's got the mesh group.
Yeah,
that's brilliant.
yes,
that's for us. It's brilliant because you don't have to be anywhere. You just have to be in the proximity.
Yeah, so if you have heard of BitChat, the Bluetooth mesh that people use around the world when their government shut off the internet and they use it for protesting and so forth. Well, you can also use that in Armada. It's fully compatible with BitChat, but it's all in one app. So if you are in a remote location and you're walking around and mobile service is shaky, and you want to send messages to the group chat, you can still do that if everybody turns on the mesh capabilities of Armada. So yeah, it's a neat feature. So we have that as well.
Amazing. Derek, it's been an hour. I can't believe it flows so quickly.
I know, I talk a lot. Sorry.
No, it's been a pleasure and a very insightful conversation. Thank you so much for finding the time, and I hope that we'll catch up again at some point, and probably by then there'll be a whole bunch of new spectrum of technologies to talk about.
I look forward to it. We got to go on a walk one of these days. I'm coming over to your side of the Atlantic here. Let's see, when in end of September, October, I'll be in Munich. No, I'm not going to BTC Hell this year, unfortunately. That's where we met for the first time, I think, last year. Yeah, I have a family wedding. I can't make it to BTC Hell, but I will be in Munich for Nostroberfest. There's a bunch of Nostriches that are going to Oktoberfest. And then I'm going to go to BTC++ in Berlin. And then I will be back at Bitfest in Manchester in November. So I'll be over there if you'll be at any of those places.
I haven't made any plans just yet, but we'll see. We'll see.
We'll see.
I'm sure they'll come and say hi. When we see each other again.
Absolutely, Endo. Yeah,
thank you so much. All the best, man. And we end the stream.
Well, thank you for having me, sir. It was fun.
Oh, of course, man. It's been a great pleasure. I don't know. Have I ended that? It's
I see live up top still. Or, so I assume we're still live.